Today is Sunday, October 26th, and this is another update on my progress of beating the S&P 500 along with Bill Ackman's Pershing Square holdings. I do make these updates every Sunday, so if you want to follow along, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. This week, my portfolio saw a gain of 1.68%, Pershing Square had a gain of 3.23%, and the S&P 500 had a gain of 1.92%, which brings us year to date. My portfolio is at a gain of 31.19%, Pershing Square is at a gain of 29.17%, and the S&P 500 is at a gain of 15.73. If we take a look at the events calendar for this week, there's not much going on due to the continued federal government shutdown. What is going on, however, is pretty important. Tuesday, we're going to get the consumer confidence, and then on Wednesday, we get the pending home sales along with Jerome Powell's federal rate decision. According to the CME Group's FedWatch Outlook tool, there's a 96.7% chance of a quarter basis point cut at the October meeting, and then a 94.4% chance of another quarter basis point cut at the final December meeting. So at this point, it's pretty much locked in that we're going to get a half a point cut by year's end. If we now take a look at the earnings calendar for this week, we're going to get 30 out of the 107 companies that I follow reporting their earnings. Definitely the biggest day is going to be Wednesday, where we see Microsoft, Meta, and Google all reporting. On Thursday, we get some more big ones with Amazon and Apple also. For the companies that are in my current portfolio, Monday we're going to get Welltower, Tuesday we see PayPal, and then Wednesday we get Microsoft, which is my third largest position right now. There's definitely a lot going on, so hopefully it's going to be a positive week. If we take a look at the SPY chart, you'll see that last Friday we had quite a bit of a sell-off, and this week the markets were actually able to recover quite nicely, and where we close that on Friday is going to be our new all-time high. So if we zoom out and take a look from June until now, you'll see that what just happened makes the sixth time that the markets took a slight dip and they rebounded pretty quickly and reached a new all-time high. Looking at this chart tells me that there's a lot of confidence in the markets, or else the rebounds wouldn't be happening, especially with how fast they're moving. And if we zoom back in and take a look at the 5 and the 15-day moving average, you'll see that on Monday we got back to how we want it, and that's with the SPY price on top, the 5-day in the middle, and the 15-day moving average at the bottom. So with the continued government shutdown and the lack of reports coming out, that means that we're not getting anything that indicates good news, but that also means that we aren't getting anything that means bad news either, which I do think is at least contributing some to the markets moving higher. But the biggest thing to me has to be the half a basis point cut by year's end that's getting priced into the markets right now. With all those companies reporting that I mentioned earlier, it's going to be important for them to be good in order for the markets to continue moving higher. As soon as bad reports come in, especially if they come from the bigger companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, or Meta, the markets could easily take another dip from their current levels. I do think, however, that this week should be positive and will either trade flat or continue moving slightly higher. These are going to be all 14 of my current positions. Right now, Nvidia, Palantir, Microsoft, Meta, and Shopify make up my top 5, and those make up 43.71% of my portfolio. My two biggest gainers this week was my Dave position, which saw a gain of 20.5%, and then Shopify, which saw a gain of 9.63%. Mind Medicine saw a decline of 9.3% this week, which lowers my total gains in that position to 65.86%. I am confident in the likelihood of another bull run upward, so I'm going to keep that position the same. Like I mentioned earlier, I do have 3 positions in my portfolio that are reporting their earnings this week, which is going to be Microsoft, Welltower, and PayPal. The only one of those positions that I'm thinking about changing is my PayPal one, which I might increase by 25% on Monday to get ahead of their earnings release on Tuesday. Other than that, I do plan to keep my portfolio exactly the same. That's going to do it for today. I do make these updates every Sunday, so if you want to follow along, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you next Sunday.